Welcome to the Celebrating Women podcast, co-hosted by Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher, a podcast that celebrates women, their issues, their thoughts, their lives, conversations that celebrate their gifts, their talents, their courage. It's the Celebrating Women podcast. Presented by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Hey, it's Mandee Montana. You know I love my friends at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, and they are helping us out with some very important daily skincare routine tips. I have the lead esthetician, Chelsea Everett, here with me. Chelsea, what are a few things that we can do daily to help take the best care of our skin?
General sunscreen that you wear, you do want to reapply it about every 2 to 4 hours. But just making sure that you're reapplying it is one of the most important things. It's not really a just one and done, go on about your day. Your skin secretes oils, like you're touching your face, you're sweating, it comes off after that short period of time. So it's super important to make sure that you're reapplying. Again, not only for preventative aging, but skin cancer is so crucial.
And of course, we can help our skin look and feel its best by coming in to see you at Hand and Stone here in Tyler. Make your appointment today. Stop by the spa in the Cumberland Shopping Center or make your appointment online at handandstonetyler.com.
Welcome back to the Celebrating Women podcast. I'm Ashley Fisher.
I'm Mandee Montana, and today we have a special guest. We've got Dorris, who is an esthetician, a laser technician, and a certified injector with us. And boy, has she got a story to tell. Amber and I just recently met kind of through networking as entrepreneurs. Of course, she's in an industry that serves women. We are too, and we got to talking, and I just found her story to be so fascinating that I was like, stop, wait. I need a microphone for you to tell me the rest of this.
Aww.
So, Amber, we're so happy to have you here today. And you've done another podcast before, so this is not entirely new to you, right?
No, this is take 2, and I'm super excited about it. I have been looking forward to it since we met a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm excited. It gets a little crazy, but,
Yeah,
we'll
but you've got a story. So, okay, so you have been in Tyler when you met Ashley this morning. You said you've been in Tyler for about 3 years. So where were you before?
So I grew up in Marshall. I lived there until I was 18. As soon as I was old enough to get out, I was gone.
Okay. Okay.
Counting down the days. I could not wait. I moved to Longview originally, and I stayed there for a little while. When I was 21, 22, I moved to Houston, stayed down there for a few years, took a couple detours along the way, came back to East Texas, back to Houston, to Oklahoma, San Antonio.
Wow.
Back to Longview. And here we are.
Here you are in Tyler. One of the things that we like to do on the Celebrating Women podcast is hear from women that have overcome something that was just really challenging and really powerful. And so do you want to get into that and kind of tell me about some of the obstacles that you've overcome?
Yes, of course. So at a very early age, I started doing drugs. At 14, I started smoking marijuana. By the time I was 16, it had progressed into almost anything and everything. I think heroin was maybe the only thing that I hadn't done at that point. And thankfully, this is still the only thing I've never done, because I don't know if we'd be having the same conversation.
Yeah.
I needed something or wanted something to make me feel different. I was disgusted with my body. I felt like I was not enough for anyone, and I needed something to help me put on a show. And staying high did that for me. I could be someone else, and I didn't have to really see myself hiding behind whatever high it was that day.
Yeah.
By the time I was 17, I got pregnant with my son. I had him when I was 18. My mom passed away a year later. And then a year after that, people in my family called CPS, and they were involved. I was doing everything to get him back, but I just knew as soon as I finished whatever CPS said, I was going to get high again. There was no doubt in my mind. It was just a temporary thing. I knew that as soon as I could, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And the family that my son was placed with had been trying to have a child for years. They finally did, and she passed away when she was 3 from a brain aneurysm. And they were devastated.
Yeah.
So I got placed with them, and they absolutely fell in love. And I could see that it was something different than what I had with him. It just was not the same. I could see it in her eyes. She was head over heels in love with that baby. And as much as I wanted to be, I just couldn't be. And so first I talked to my counselor, and that was a really hard conversation, because how do you tell your counselor that, I don't really think I can be a mom. Like, I don't know if I am equipped to do this.
No, that is brave beyond belief.
Yeah.
And dare I say, so loving and so mature. And so I could go on and on.
Well, I just knew I wanted him to have everything that he could have in life, and I knew that I wasn't equipped to give it to him. And as much as I wanted to be, I just didn't know how to be. My mom had just died. She was my best friend. She was everything, And when he came home from the hospital that first night, like, we argued and had a for real fight over who was going to give him a bath.
Oh.
And she won. I didn't get to do nothing.
So did y'all got to share some time together, you and your mom, with him? That's precious memories, I'm sure.
He turned 1 right like 2-3 weeks after she passed away.
Okay.
So almost a year with him.
How old was he when you're having this conversation with your counselor?
About 18, 19 months old.
Wow. So how did that conversation go, and what was the ending result there?
Well, I don't really remember exactly. I just know I kind of mentioned to her, what if he stayed with them? What if... And she was like, are you saying that, that's what you want to happen? And I was like, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. Of course that's not what I'm saying. Like, what kind of person says that? But she was like, Amber, if that's what you think, then that, that is okay.
Yeah.
That's actually maybe what needs to happen for him. Do you think that you're going to be able to do it? And she just kept asking questions that were making me have to really look at myself. And I knew that it wasn't he didn't need to be with me. And I knew that. I knew that I could not give him the life that he needed. And I did not want him to grow up justifying the things that I was doing, because no matter what, you are going to justify what your parents do.
Yeah.
They're good people. So if drugs are bad, maybe they're not that bad if they're doing them.
Because if mom is doing it, then there must be, I get
that
it.
bad.
Right. Yeah. I see
and
that.
I didn't want him to have to justify that. I didn't want him to do what I was doing.
Amber, for an addict, that's a lot of awareness to have.
I
think it really speaks to the love of a mother.
Yes.
A mother's love, and how, despite the addiction that you were currently battling, your love for him and what you wanted for him overpowered that. And that's extraordinarily powerful and courageous and brave of you.
Absolutely. And I want to say, yes, the love of a mother, but I think that has everything to do with who you are and your heart. Because there are plenty of addicts who are moms who don't have that perspective, don't have that heart. So I want to just applaud you, because that, gosh, I can only imagine the amount of, bravery, heart-wrenching bravery that had to take.
It was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done, but I would do it 10 times over. My son is the most amazing person. He works at the jail instead of being in the jail. He doesn't do anything. He turns 21 tomorrow.
What?
Aww. And
you have a 21-year-old? I'm thinking this kid's got to be 5 by now.
Yeah. I know. She's beautiful, isn't she?
You are. Thank you. But he's never, he's only like maybe had 2 or 3 little drinks in his lifetime. He's never done anything.
Yeah.
And he is just a truly kind, loving person.
And you have a relationship with him.
I do.
That's so, I love that for you, Amber.
I do. I didn't for 15 years. I did not get to see him. His 3rd birthday was the last time I saw him until August of 22.
Wow. So this is new.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you want to walk us through like what that reconciliation looked like, that process?
Yeah. So for 15 years, I told myself, no matter what happens when he turns 18, I don't care. You are going to be sober one way or another. And it took multiple trips to incarceration for long extended periods of time. The last time was for 3 years, but it was right before he turned 18. So when I came home, he turned 18, I came home on February 2nd. He turned 18 on February 7th. So 5 days. And by March, he had contacted me. He remained in contact with my family. My aunts and my cousins got to see him while he was growing up. So he knew them, and he had wanted to know who I was. When he was about 12, they told me that he was asking questions, so I sent him a message on Facebook. Apparently, I scared him. I mean, I didn't mean to, but I wanted him to know if he's asking, then I felt like he deserved that. But when he was 18, he did reach out, and we started talking a little bit on social media, and we had originally planned to meet in May, but it was Mother's Day weekend, and my family was like, maybe you shouldn't meet him that weekend. Like, you don't want to offend his adopted mom. And so I listened to them and asked him if he wanted to do it another time. And I kind of think that he felt rejected again, because it took 3 or 4 months for us to reschedule that. And that was by no means my intentions, but how else do you feel when,
Yeah.
But so in August, we met. We went to Longview and had lunch at Bubba 33's. And it was definitely, for me, it was like healing and just pure love. I don't know how else to really describe it. The conversation was definitely awkward and a little forced. No one really knew what to say.
Yeah.
But we survived it.
Yeah.
And after that, I just kept messaging him, kept bugging him. The second time we met, he gave me his phone number, and I was like, dude, you messed up.
You're going to hear from Mama now.
Yep. And it's just gone from there. We had a surprise 21st birthday for him, and it was his girlfriend asked me and his adopted mom if we wanted to do this for him. So all 3 of us.
You did it together?
Yeah.
Wow, how was that?
It was actually awesome. I was so nervous, and I thought it was going to be so awkward.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Oh.
They came to his parents and sister and girlfriend all came to my aunt's house on Thanksgiving. So we kind of had a little bit of time together then, but there was a lot of people around, so we didn't have to have really any conversations.
Yeah.
So I was petrified. I was like, oh my gosh,
Had you kept up with his adopted mom over the years?
No.
Okay.
When I signed my rights over, there was a lot of promises that I would, always get to see him. And I couldn't remember why they didn't let me come around anymore. And apparently there was a Halloween trick-or-treat thing that I was supposed to meet them at, and I didn't show up. And there was something previous to that, which, I mean, as much as I want to say that didn't happen, it probably did, you know?
Yeah.
I was not reliable. You could not depend on me for anything. If I told you something, more than likely it wasn't happening.
Gotcha.
So I had a lot of animosity towards them for a long time, but I know that they were really just protecting his best interest.
Yeah, and it's hard not to kind of, to at bare minimum, appreciate on a higher end, love somebody that loves your baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even even when it's us that get in the way.
Yeah. And I did. I had a lot of anger towards them for a long time, but now I'm very, very grateful that they did that, and he never had to know that person or see that side. And not to mention all the times of waiting and wondering if I was going to show up or where I was at. So he never had to experience any of that. I'm sure that there were a lot of things he did experience that we really haven't got to talk about yet, but...
So he turns 18, you are out, you've had this goal in your mind and your heart that you, come hell or high water, you're going to be sober when he's 18. So did you meet that goal, and have you continued in sobriety?
I have.
Woo, sis, good job.
Yes. So... October was 5 years that I have been clean. My drug of choice was pain pills and meth, and I have not touched either since.
Wow.
So October 17th of 18. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like an accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
we
incredible.
Congratulate you.
Yes.
Man, if
Yes.
I could clap and not hurt people's ears on the microphone, I would. That's amazing.
Cue the applause.
So what has, aside from a deep love and respect for your son, what has driven that sobriety, the ability to stay sober, the ability to want to stay sober? Like, what's been the driving force behind that?
I think it's been more to prove that I can. Mm-hmm. I am a very hard-headed individual, and at this point for the first couple years, that was the only thing that got me through it, was because I said I was going to, and I didn't care what that meant. And now my life is just so full of joy and love that I'm not going to say I'll never, because I've said that so many times and lived to regret it. There's nothing in me that has any desire to go back to that, because it's a very lonely, lonely world. When you're surrounded by people that are only there for what you can give them, and you know that they're not hearing anything you're saying. They don't care to listen. They're just there because you have something they want. And for a long time, like, selling drugs was feeding that need to be important in me. But even throughout that, I knew why they were there. I mean, it was not for any other reason. And it made me, like, put up a lot of walls and not have real conversations, because I felt like it would either be used against me. Like, what is the point of having that conversation? But now I have, like, amazing, amazing women in my life, and I know that they are there because they want to be, and because they love me, and they want to see me do good.
Yeah. Where did they come from?
Most of them are here. One of my very closest friends I met while I was in jail the last time. She got out a couple months later and has been there ever since. So for almost 3 years, she stayed in contact. And the other people I met since I've been in Tyler, and they've all come from all walks of life. It's just like a hodgepodge of people, but
that's the best kind.
It is.
So your support system now are friends. What else?
My dad and my stepmom, whenever I came home, they live here, and this is where I came to. They let me stay with them for the first 2 years.
It's so hard to get back on your feet. There's just not a lot of infrastructure or a good system for people who've just been out of the normal routine of life to get back in. I mean, it's a real challenge. So I'm so thankful that your dad and your stepmom were there to give you that time to get your feet underneath you again, because I know you can speak to it greater than I can. I just watched from the sidelines, but I just remember being so difficult to just, like, get a driver's license and start living his life again.
It is very challenging, and especially it's more psychological. Whenever you first get here, you feel like everyone knows where you've been, and I felt like my number was stamped on my forehead, and that you've got all this negative self-talk that's telling you you're never going to do anything, you're never going to be any different, and you have to figure out a way to get over that, to just
Tell
it.
that voice to shut it.
Yeah. And because this was the third time. So the 2 previous times when I came home, my dad and them would have been there, but I just wouldn't allow them to be.
You weren't ready.
No. And I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I still wasn't convinced that I couldn't ever do drugs again. I thought that I could somehow manage it, and I was going to figure out how, because I wasn't ready to just completely give all that up.
I've seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about. As a family member, I've watched it happen time and again. It's hard,
and I cannot imagine having to watch that with someone that I love. I don't know how y'all handle it. I really don't.
It's challenging, but like hearing you gives me so much hope. Like, this is so healing for me to have this conversation with you, because I mean, I can see in your eyes as soon, like when I met you, like I felt your spirit is joyful. Yeah. Your spirit is grateful.
It's in your eyes.
Yeah. You are a loving person.
Very much so.
You know, and to have come through what you have and to be where you are now, I know you've got some really exciting things on the horizon. I want you to talk about that too. But like, it gives me so much hope to hear your story and to know that like that loving Amber has always been in there, and she had to fight with some negative self-talk. She had to fight with some things that were going through her mind. She had to fight with the addiction, but you did, and you came through it, and I'm sure you're still fighting it. Like, I'm sure that this is something that you deal with internally at time and again. There's some sort of pull or some sort of memory of it or whatever, but like, you're doing it, girl. And now like you have your own business and you're an entrepreneur and you have an incredible support system and you're out meeting new women and getting, like, it's remarkable. You're a remarkable person.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And don't give up hope on him.
I won't.
Because he can. And I pray he does.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you mentioned that he was at Bradshaw. I get to go to Bradshaw and talk to 215 ladies that are incarcerated there at a treatment program. And for me, it's like full circle.
Yeah.
To walk.
I've got chills here.
To walk through those front doors and know that when it's time, I get to walk right back out.
You get to walk right back out.
I get to go in what I want to wear, and I'm not putting on nothing white.
I'm going to wear my makeup, do my hair.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I'm super, super excited about that. If there is anything in this world that I want, it is to be a voice of encouragement. I know sitting in those rooms, you feel like you're never, like, how can you? You can never be anything different. You're always going to be a felon. You're always going to be an addict. You're always going to be all these labels. But having someone come and tell me, like, you don't have to be that. That doesn't have to define who you are from here on out. And I just want to share that with them.
Did you have an experience like that when you were there?
I did. I had a mentor who came and talked to me regularly. And she had never been in, she was a nurse. She worked for a surgeon. She'd never experienced anything like I had. So at first it was a hard, there was a big bridge that we had to build to be able to communicate.
Because you're thinking, you don't know my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can you tell me what I can, you don't know. But she was really who I needed, because she reiterated time and time again that what I think of me is not what she sees in me. And to hear it from someone who doesn't know me and really doesn't have a reason to like lie to me.
Right. Yeah. There's no skin in the game for her. It's pure and honest and truthful.
Yes.
Which is something that your heart was hungry for.
And most definitely. And we just built a relationship. And at that time, I guess when I came home, it was the second time, and I wasn't quite there yet. We did stay in contact for about 6 months, but I couldn't talk to her because I couldn't face her. I didn't want her to see, and I didn't want her to know, and so I just quit talking to her. But she played a huge role in the last go around. And if I can share that little bit of hope, and you'll have 12 felony convictions. So if I can get my crap together, anybody can.
Wow, Amber.
I know.
No. I just mean that you've overcome it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Because that's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's a little, I don't want to say embarrassing, but yeah, a little bit now. But if I can do all of this with all of that, then, these girls who this is their first time and they're, whatever.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, exactly how to go about helping them, but I just am someone who is a wing it type person. I'm going to figure it out as I go. So I'm going to just go out there and talk to him, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
If somebody needs help with something,
Sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited about that.
That's amazing.
So how did you get into what you're doing now? Because I think it's really interesting. I mean, all the things that you've gone through, right? All the hardship, but you're in a service industry now, right? Where you're making women feel beautiful and making them feel good about themselves. Like, it just feels, again, like another full circle moment. But how did you come to that?
So I started in 2017. I went and took a training on permanent makeup, and I started cosmetic architecture then. I did not understand the amount of dedication and work that goes into building a business. I just thought that I would take this class and
have
I would
clients.
say, and they would just keep coming.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, it's gonna be real easy.
Yeah, so simple.
Was not at all. So after about 6 or 7 months of not really having any clients, 1 or 2 here and there, I decided that I was going to leave it alone. The goal was to always start doing it again. I just didn't know when or how. So 2018 comes around. I go back to prison. Fast forward 3 years. I come home. During that time, I came up with a plan. And I knew that cosmetic architecture was going to be a business, and it was going to happen. Decided that I wanted to go to school for esthetician. So I came up with a goal, a list of all these itemized steps that I had to take to get there. And when I came home, I started researching schools around here. So there was only one. I went to White House, and they thankfully had a night program, so I was able to go to school at night and still work a full-time job during the day. There was a program through Texas Workforce Commission that helps pay for schooling. So I fought with them for about a year to get the funding. Filled out, I can't even tell you how many packets, and faxed in and sent back and revised and all the things, but I eventually did it, and I got the funding, and they paid for most of my schooling. When I finished there, I went to Dallas to the Texas Laser Institute for their laser technician course, and then back to Dallas and took a few Botox certifications, and here we are.
Wow. And you did all of this while working another full-time job. Like you said, I'm going to get sober. I'm going to be there for my son. I'm going to figure that relationship out. I'm going to make this list of goals. I'm going to start my own business. Girl,
I'm trying to figure out, where did it come from? This gut level determination and the know-how to like make a damn list.
So many people get stuck. They're like, oh, I want to start my own business, but I don't know where to start. And then they like talk themselves out of it. Who don't have all of these
obstacles coming at them, who are not trying to beat an addiction and are not like, where did that come from?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not really sure. Yeah. But I am someone who feels I can do anything. And I'll figure it out. Like, I may not have all the answers. And I'm glad that I have that mentality, because otherwise I would still be sitting somewhere making another list where instead of putting a few steps into action. So I'm glad that I was able to just, I don't know, guys. It's a hard question to answer. How do I stay motivated? And I'm like, I don't really think I stay motivated, because there's days that I have no motivation, but I have no choice. And you just have to do it.
See, and that's the thing. People think that, well, I'm not feeling motivated today, so
I'm not going to do anything.
Listen, if we just leave it up to whenever we feel motivated, that is like waiting on a shooting star. It's not about feeling motivated. It's just about doing the damn thing. And you have done the damn thing. That's amazing.
So I know where all this got started now. We were talking and you told me you're about to be on a reality TV show.
What?
And that's when I said, what? How? Explain,
which one?
Please. Tell me more. And then you were like, well, girl, I got a story. And then that's when you started telling me your story. So I kind of buried the lead. I apologize. I'll have to reopen this, I guess. But you're going to be on a show for entrepreneurs.
Yes, it is called The Blocks. It's on Amazon Prime. It is a competition show for entrepreneurs.
I wish you guys could see Ashley's face right now. Her eyes.
I'm sorry, my jaw's in my lap.
She's excited for you.
I am. I'm just like, oh, okay, keep talking.
Keep talking.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's 20 businesses go. We're there for a week. There's a classroom every morning, and then a one-on-one coaching session with a mentor, and then a challenge every day. They don't eliminate anyone, so you stay the whole time.
Okay.
And they're like grading you off of how well you understand the concepts and how you would apply it to your business. So I have started doing a whole lot of research, because I am very competitive. I want to win.
We want you to win, too.
Is this a new show, or is this?
It's been around. This is like the 8th or 9th season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to go binge watch a show.
Right?
Sorry.
Yes. So it's going to be filming next month in Tulsa. I'll be there for a week. And I'm not exactly sure when it will air. I'm assuming end of the year. But I'm excited, I think. So
at the end of the week, when you've gone through the lessons and thought through like how to apply them, like what's the...
So the top 3 contestants will then do a final competition against each other, and then they'll place a first place winner who wins a cash prize. And then there are a separate group of businesses that they think are investor friendly. So you can potentially get investors for your company. Yeah.
So
I got a list of things I want to buy.
I bet you do, girlfriend.
This is so cool.
This is cool. So what does your business look like today? Like, is it, where do you operate from? All that good stuff.
So I lease a suite at Cedar Ridge Salon Gallery by UT, right past Old Omen. There's a little county road over there. Very hidden, very super cute boho chic building. I love it so much. And I lease out of there. The goal is, to eventually be in my own building, but right now it's perfect. And so it's just me. I have a medical director that I work under out of Dallas. They sign all my charts. They do the wellness visit online with them before.
Nice.
Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So exciting. Then what services do you mainly do?
I do all kinds of stuff. So I do Botox, I do facials and chemical pills and microneedling. I do full body waxing. I do lash lifts and brow laminations and I'm sure there's a couple other things I'm forgetting, but yeah, all the things.
Man.
What do you love most about it? Like, because I can tell it lights you up. I mean, I can hear the joy in your voice when you're talking about what you do. What do you love most about your business?
My clients, like getting to talk to different women and hear their story and being able to help them have the confidence that they want. And I mean, we all have that thing that we want to change about us. And I didn't go into it wanting to make, it's not about like the way that people look, in my opinion, it's the way that they feel. And if I can share a little bit of love and joy, that's what I want to do.
Oh, I see that. I see the tear, like sparkles in your eye right now. Like yeah.
I wish like this is when I'm like, dang, I wish I had video.
Videoing? I know.
Because you just have you can tell a lot by just what comes out of somebody's eyes. And there's only so much that people can fake.
Yeah.
And the genuine light and love and joy that comes through you is extraordinary. That's the word that keeps coming to my mind and my heart as I'm sitting here, is you are an extraordinary woman.
Oh, thank you.
You are. And I'm so excited for you to have this experience in Tulsa. So I really want you to come back afterwards whenever whenever you can talk about it. I understand that before it airs, you might not be able to say anything. That's totally fine. Whenever it's appropriate, I would love to have you come back and talk about that experience. And I'm going to see you around because we're friends now. So just consider me part of your support group.
Yeah.
I'm excited and thankful that our paths crossed through a circle of incredible women.
Yeah. Me too.
Me too.
It is awesome. Yeah. And y'all, God just keeps putting more and more amazing people in my path on a regular basis. I mean, for most of my life, I thought that women were crappy friends and that, you couldn't, I don't know. I had all these misconceptions, and I really think it was because I knew the type of friend that I was, and I was a crappy friend.
Ooh, dang, again with the self-awareness.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was, man. Like, I've hurt anyone that got close to me. And so knowing that about myself, I felt like, if I let anyone get close to me, they were going to hurt me. And now, that's just not the case. And I just keep getting, it's amazing to me. I don't know. I've got so many women in my life that I know whatever it is, no matter.
If you needed them.
Yes, they would be there in the middle of the night.
Yeah. That's invaluable. I mean, that's everything. Because how many people have quantity? There's people, they know everybody, but they don't have anybody that they can call in the middle of the night if they need them. That's just such a treasure. Okay, I gotta ask, because it's just, again, I'm just like, I literally met you when you walked in here. So you mentioned, God putting these women in your path. Has faith been part of your journey as well?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that part come into play?
Well, I grew up in church. So I've known God since I was a little girl, but there was so much pain and so much loss that I didn't really know if I believed in the God that I was told about when I was little. Yeah. And for so many years of extreme addiction, the only thing that kept me holding on was I was in the pure presence of pure evil so many times. And if that side of it is real, then the opposite has to be.
Wow.
That's profound.
Yeah.
And true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just shared some truth, girl.
And but I didn't, every time I would go to jail, I didn't want to be the one who, went to jail and suddenly found God, and now I'm,
You're
holy roller.
Listen, I may be struggling, but I will not be a cliche.
Yes, pretty much. Oh. And I just didn't want it to be fake.
I was just about to say, you wanted it to be real.
Yeah.
You really wanted to feel it before you started professing it.
Yes.
Yeah. I really admire that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew so many people who immediately, when they got there, suddenly, you know, their
Your
Bible
bullshit
thumper-
detector is good, girl.
Yeah.
And it's on point.
I mean, yeah, I'm like,
On point.
Yes.
Yes.
Even with yourself, what I love is that, you know, some people
Yeah.
have a good BS detector on everybody else but themselves.
Yeah.
But like Amber's over here like, no, it's me too.
Yeah.
Like I can read my own stuff and yours.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I feel like if I can call myself out, then I can call you out too.
I think so. I think we'll give you that for sure.
Yes, for sure.
So you wanted it to be real. So how, like, I'm just so curious. Like,
Well, the lady that I mentioned earlier, she was my mentor. The mentor program was through the chapel there. So she brought me this daily devotional that was called Hidden Gems. And it had, I can't remember the guy who wrote it, but he studied the Greek and Hebrew meanings in the scriptures and would break down, like give you the definition and explain how it pertained at that day and age.
Yeah, oh,
and
that's
so
so
it
good.
really changed the meaning of all these verses. And I really like to learn. I'm kind of a nerd in that sense. I want to know why and how and who. And so I just wanted to know more about like the history of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of dug in with that devotional originally, and it just opened up my eyes to a lot. And before I met her, there's so many near-death experiences that I could tell you all about. But
Really?
oh my gosh. I had a car land on top of me when I was 14. I swallowed like 2 ounces of ice and had to have my stomach pumped.
And when you say ice, you're talking about like meth ice,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I should probably clarify that.
I mean, depending on the listener, they may or may not have context.
Yeah, so that time, I swallowed all of that to keep from going to jail. I still went to jail.
And you lived through it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
how.
sure that
I
was-
really don't know. The doctor came in and was like, "Do you realize what you've done?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I didn't want to go to jail." And he was like, "Do you understand what you did? Like, do you understand that people don't do that and live to tell about it? If they do survive, they're in a coma, they're a vegetable for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And you have absolutely no brain damage."
Wow, Amber.
He was like, I don't know what you believe in or who you believe in, but you really should be thanking someone. Wow. And I mean, at that moment, I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, can I go? I don't see any handcuffs on me. Like, am I? Guess
Amber.
I'm not gonna go to jail right now. Wow. So I left. I didn't go to jail at that moment, but
It was coming.
It was coming. Yeah, a little while later. So while I was there, I was laying on the floor. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and I was trying to read this book, but it was about fairies and some stupid crap, and I couldn't read it. And this chick had like, I don't know, 20, 30 books underneath her bed, and one of them was just like, there was no lights on, but it just kept looking like a flashing sign under there. And finally, after about an hour and a half of this, I'm like, I'm just going to get the book. If she's mad about it, we can fight about it, whatever. I'm getting the book.
Yeah.
So I get this book out, and it's a Read the Bible in a Year. So the day's verse, I flipped to that day, and it was Isaiah 42. And I can't quote it exactly, but it says, "I call you in the name of righteousness. I reach out my right hand. I will deliver you from the darkness. You will set captives free," and all these things. And I'm just like bawling, crying.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how or why or what in the world. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that hand just reached out to me. Like, I should probably take it.
Yeah.
But this is weird.
It was crazy. And I didn't know how, like, I didn't really fully understand what it meant at that moment.
Yeah.
But I knew it was something big. And if you're telling me that you're going to set me free, then okay, I'm down. Like, what do we got to do?
That is faith. That right there. And that's all the faith you ever need. Like, I don't know how, but if you say it, I believe it. That is faith. And he can do anything with faith. And he did.
Look.
Yeah.
That's
did.
all. That's all. That's all it is. It's just, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. But if you say it, I'll believe it.
And I didn't fully understand how or when or why, and it took a long time. Like, it was not something that happened immediately.
Yeah.
But that's never left you, clearly.
Mm.
You remember the verse.
Yeah, that was...
Wow.
I knew that I was meant for more and that he was going to use me.
And he is, clearly.
Yeah. And I want that. I want to go where he tells me. I want to be the encouragement or voice of reason or whatever he needs me to be. Like, I want to be that.
Oh, I'm so glad you came in today. I knew it was going to be good, Amber. I knew this conversation was going to be special, but I had no idea how special. Thank you so much. We have some fun questions we like to ask. So what is your coffee order?
So, Dutch Bros, y'all are my fave, and I want a Golden Eagle on ice right now.
That Golden Eagle, man. There it goes again.
Was it Lindsay Steele? Mm-hmm. She was the first one that came in and told us that, like, the exact same thing. She was like, Dutch Bros. And she's not really a coffee drinker, but she loves that Golden Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is delicious. It really is.
If we were going to send you on, like, all expense paid vacation, you could go anywhere in the world. Where would you go? It could be as bougie as you want it to be or as, like, camping on the ground as you want it to be.
So there's this island in Greece that the movie 300 was recorded.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
That would be fun.
I want to
That'd
go.
be awesome.
Go ahead.
I know we're in fun questions, but the question that keeps coming up in my mind is, and maybe this would be a good place to end. Whoever is listening, they may be in a blatant struggle, or they may have gotten really good at hiding their struggle, because it is possible to go do a 9-to-5 and be just struggling on so many levels. So what is your encouragement? What do you say to that person, to that woman in that season of her life? If she's struggling like you were, what would you say to her?
That it's okay to ask for help. That you don't have to do it alone, and you really can't. You're going to need somebody. And find me on social media. My name is Amber Dorris. Send me a message, whatever you got to do. Okay. You just, it's okay. And you can come out of it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you know and feel how very extraordinary you are and how very loved and special the calling is on your life.
I do.
And it's obvious that God ain't done with you yet.
No, far from it.
Yeah.
And I honestly very recently realized exactly how rare I am. And I don't mean it in a look at me type, it's not. But there's just not a whole lot of people out there like this.
No, and I'm thankful that we got to sit in a room with you and hear your story. It's an honor.
The Celebrating Women podcast wants to hear from you. Email us a voice message to celebratingwomenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story or the story of an incredible woman you know. Become part of the conversation on social media. Facebook.com/celebratingwomenpodcast. On Instagram, search Celebrating Women Podcast. The Celebrating Women Podcast has been presented by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Book your appointment today. Stop by the spa in Cumberland Shopping Center or online at handandstonetyler.com. The Celebrating Women Podcast is created and hosted by Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher. Support the show for as little as $3 per month at celebratingwomenpodcast.buzzsprout.com or visit our show notes. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the Celebrating Women Podcast.